Bondwell Committee of the Whole meeting to order on Wednesday, January 24th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Statement regarding the meeting notice. The agenda for the meeting was sent to the Shawano Leader and Results Broadcasting. Copies of the agenda were also posted at the Village Hall, Bundle State Bank, and the Bundle Library. Can I have approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary.
I'll second.
Motion by Hoppenstein, second by Court, to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then approval of the November 21st, 2023 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, November 21st.
I'll second that.
Motion by Court, second by Stashik, to approve the minutes from November 21st, 2023. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Acknowledgement of citizens and open forum. Kay Hoppenstein would like to speak.
I am donating the remainder of the money that is in the nonprofit Bondwell Cedar Park Dog Park because we closed the nonprofit. There will be $543.13 donated to the village of Bondwell to be put in the village of the Cedar Park Dog Park Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reports. No fire chief report. No police report. How about the clerk and treasurer report?
Finishing year-end stuff, should have that done by tomorrow, and then getting stuff ready for our audit that starts on Monday.
Director of Municipal Operations.
Well, we got the renovations done to the police office, got the flooring, paint, lights, everything put back together, so that's all ready to go. Just finishing up moving snow from this last storm. That's been keeping us busy. And then been getting some things. We're gonna have to do a flood zone ordinance. I'm working with the DNR. It helps out the residents and ourselves if in case anybody's in a floodplain for insurance purposes. So that would be something, and the DNR is doing the heavy lifting on that. We just got that in the email this week. And the DNR called and said that they would write it all and everything else. So doing that, and yeah, a bunch of other stuff. The ice skating pond is ready to go, but the weather is not cooperating now. It's melting.
We'll go to new business. Discussion and possible recommendation on IT support services.
I'm bringing this to the cow. I was approached by Maple Breeze during the budget about possibly switching our IT services to them. Years ago, we had Maple Breeze. He is local, Jeff Roberts, and he had gave me some numbers based on the number of computers we have, the number of emails, kind of what we have here for servers and whatnot. Right now we have Corporate Network Solutions. How that works with Corporate Network Solutions is we have certain maintenance costs per year, and that's basically on the number of subscriptions we have for like Barracuda that blocks malware, different things like that. For the server stuff, like for the different emails we have for everybody. I kind of broke it down. He had gave me a price. He does kind of like protective maintenance and kind of does a quarterly and a monthly type thing. So Maple Breeze with discounts, he was looking at about $69.56 a year, so about $579 a month. And that's, with remote and on-site support. Right now, the way we do it is we pay for those maintenance costs for whatever those subscription costs are for the protection and services. Over the last few years, this year was a little higher because we had like a 3-year renewal on one of the subscriptions. So, it ranges anywhere from about 1,000, a little over 1,000 to maybe like $2,200 a year. And then we buy a block of time. So the last time we bought a block of time, we bought back in December 21, we bought 50 hours of time. Right now, on the average, you're using under 2 hours a month, and that's used by anybody. So that's like if you guys call because you're locked out, Jesse calls because his computer's not working, his printer's not working, PD calls, whoever in the village calls, we all share that block of time. We did budget this year for another 50 hours in the budget, so we will have to buy probably a block because we're down to 6.75 hours, but that should last us a little bit. They use that for anything. So like when they hooked up the video stuff, that block of time was used for the labor on that. That's just used for labor. So the average IT, cost per year is about $24.91 plus the cost of the maintenance. We're still under that $6,900. Personally, I don't want to change. Corporate Network has been great. I mean, we call them, they can do what we need. Their response time is good. I know Maple Breeze is local. We've had them in the past. I've had them at another employer. Didn't really love them, but cost wise, and then the whole thing to change, I don't know that it's worth it, and they are more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how we can justify it.
And like I said, Corporate Network is amazing. They do, I can call Justin and last week I had a thing with the DNS on one of our sites. I couldn't get in and he fixed it, sent me an email, it's fixed, and it was, so he's really good. When we were having problems with linkability and some of the web stuff, he figured it out. Linkability couldn't. Our web guy couldn't figure it out. They figured it out.
Every time you call, he's right there, they fix it remotely, it's
Yeah.
done right away. I have no issues with it.
Right, and none of these costs include, like when we get a new computer, none of these would include that. That's all in addition to this. So, there are more costs, but this is just kind of the costs for the maintenance and normal IT services. Computers or hardware, that's all additional to anything. So I guess my recommendation would be to leave things as is, and we would just continue as is. So.
I agree.
So by consensus, I think we would just remove this and we won't move forward with it.
I agree.
Move to unfinished business. Discussion and possible recommendation to repeal and recreate Bonwell Municipal Code Section 22-21 sexual offender residency restrictions.
All right, so this is our sexual offender residency restriction ordinance. So when Rose was here, the attorney we had for the last appeal, she had gave us a draft of one that she felt was good. Since then, Ashley has came back, and Ashley felt that the one that she gave us was a little much. So she's gone through and revamped it and cut it down a little bit. Basically, it all says the same stuff. There's a couple things. We've changed the distance to 1,000 feet. And one of the things she is questioning is the highlighted in yellow. And that is that the residence is also a primary residence. So she's saying that one of the exceptions would be is that the sex offender could live with a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a spouse, or children, providing that such person established the residency at least 1 year before the sexual offender established residency at location. So if they basically were offenders, they could live and were released, they could live with a family member. So I talked to her about this last week. She said that a lot of municipalities are allowing that. She said that, so let's say you have a son or a daughter or a family member who is a sex offender, doesn't have restrictions by the state, they could live with a family member as a resident. She said some municipalities don't like this idea. I said, well, I have an example of where we didn't allow it. Schlender. You know, we had a spouse there. I mean, granted, the gentleman's gone now, but if you remember how many people we had here who did not feel comfortable, even though he was there during the day a lot of times, did not want him living there. You know, I know we have people who were grandfathers that were living with spouses, parents, whatever. But she said, you know, doesn't matter to her if we wanted to strike that, but she said it is something that some municipalities are allowing. So that was one thing she basically, you know, had as a question as to whether we would want that in there or not. But otherwise, everything else, she feels she can defend if it came up. You know, she said there's always the chance that, you know, something. Once I said, as long as you feel you can defend this and deal with the appeals if it comes up, that's what we need.
Mhm.
Because I can't defend it, and we would need our attorneys to, you know, do that. So, but this was the one thing that she didn't know if we would want in or not. And she said either way, she does not, you know, have an opinion either way. I mean, she's kind of, I think, a little bit more that she leans towards yes, but if it was my neighbor and I had kids,
Yeah, I don't, I think we should just vote.
you know, but that's for your decision. But otherwise, I guess we would just need to decide on that, and then if you had any other changes or questions, we would go with that and then recommend it to the board to be adopted. And I guess I don't know what other situation you would mean. You know, I'm trying to think of like even the one that we just had the appeal. You know, if he was gonna live, let's say he was living with parents. I mean, I think a lot of us would still feel not great with the situation.
I don't know what you guys feel. We didn't leave the last guy because of hurricane, and his wife was here. I mean, I don't think we should change it now.
You mean Schlender?
Yeah, his wife was already here, and he said no to that. A lot of people in the village were against him when he was here.
Right. I also feel like it also determines on the kid's age. Like, I feel like sometimes things can be misstrewn, and sometimes I feel like somebody gets the raw end of the deal and it really wasn't what it was. So what if there was a young kid and another young kid accused this person of doing it?
Well, it's
You know what I'm
statutory,
saying?
statutory rape.
Yeah.
I mean, where let's say the, you know, the one is an adult considered by law because they're 18 or older, and boyfriend girlfriend situation, and the younger of the two or whatever, one gets pregnant or whatever, and now gets basically by court of law, it's statutory rape.
But can we do that even though, because that's what the court is, determines the guilt. I mean, that's
Correct.
just like saying if somebody speeds, we don't think it to be right. We
Well,
still
and
have
this
to
would be in a
uphold it.
case where they don't have anything by judgment. Now, like if there's someone that they have a parole officer and they cannot be placed somewhere, that's a whole different story. This is
Yeah.
someone that doesn't have a restriction like the gentleman that was here, you know.
I'm just saying if we start differentiating on levels of severity,
Correct.
that we can't really do that because that's what the court of law is determining. That it, whether we agree with it or not, it's a sex offender. That's my
Right,
opinion.
and I understand that because somebody like that, are they necessarily a predator?
Right.
I mean, in the eyes of the law, yes.
Yes. I mean, I don't think we should change it either, like we already said no to that.
So we're gonna strike, we're gonna take that out. Or we're gonna,
Yeah, I will.
And then bring it to the, or to the board,
Yeah.
next time.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the board to go on, to move on forward with, Vinyl Municipal Sex Offender Registration Code with removing section 3, part D.
I'll second that.
Motion by Court, second by Stashik. To recommend to the board to move forward with the sexual offender ordinance, striking out D,
section 3,
sections 3,
3D.
3D. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Closed session. Move to closed session to discuss possible development of Sunrise Court. Pursuant to Wisconsin's state statutes, chapter 19, general duties of public officials. Subchapter V, 1925 exemption, when either deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. At the end of closed session, the committee will reconvene to open session.
Do we need this?
Not really. Well, I can't remember what the last update I gave you. So I guess we'll go to closed session for less than 2 minutes.
I'll make a motion, moving to closed session for approximately 2 minutes, waiting in Michelle Marashik and Jessica.
I'll second that.
Motion by Court, second by Hottenstein, move into closed session for approximately 2 minutes, inviting Michelle Marashik and Jesse Rankin. Roll call?
Court,
Yes.
Hottenstein,
Yes.
Stashik,
Yes.
Game.
Yes. We've been in closed session at 6:17.
County tax will be 6.